cannot believe the audacity some people have. Me and my husband are in the shopping.
So that is a perfect example of someone operating out of wounded feminine energy. Wounded feminine energy is wherever a woman is discouraging good behavior from a man towards another woman, or they encourage bad behavior from a man to another woman. And she's also getting him out of alignment for his divine masculine. He can be her husband very much and love her and all of that. But his mission and all of our mission is to operate from a place of love and to leave everybody in a better position than they were in when they first came in our space. And so women that, and this also goes back to the wounded masculine, which I'll get into, but women that surround themselves with men for their own safety, their own validation, their own care and security, but don't encourage that towards other women is, like I said, operating out of her wounded feminine. And she is also getting those men out of alignment with their divine masculine. And a lot of times it goes back to the mother, the father, and it's in their bloodline because it's how they saw things growing up. And so same thing with men that operate in the wounded masculine. These men surround themselves with women that they, like I say, they discourage good behavior towards other men and they encourage bad behavior towards other men. So and that goes back to why they will third party women towards other men for control. And this is why they will also collect time, money, and energy from other men and extract that from other men using women as a third party. So going back to her, however she was raised, whether this she saw her father who was in his wounded masculine or whether she saw her mother in her wounded masculine, she saw a behavior that encouraged where a man is not allowed to be his best self in the presence of other women because she feels like it takes away from her. And that goes back to why now this is where something will get passed down to a generation because now her husband is not behaving and operating from his divine masculine because of the feminine that he's connected to through marriage, which is his wife. And he needs permission, right, to be his best self, to be righteous, right? So now that's over their whole marriage. And it's all based in her insecurity. And who knows if it goes back and forth or vice versa with him. And so we just have to pay attention to people like that. And it's a whole family of them. You know, there's a whole family of people where the mother is the wounded feminine, which is why she'll defend and be defensive towards her son, her brother, her husband, their behavior, their bad behavior towards other women. And like I say, they'll even encourage bad behavior and disrespect and abuse towards other women because they're not operating in their divine feminine. Same thing, like I said, with men, their daughters, their sisters, their wife, women that they know. They will use those women and use those women to triangulate other men. They have to extract, these people have to survive. So, like I say, time, money, or energy. Disrespect, they encourage that bad behavior. You know, men who allow women or get women to help set up other men. Like all of that is someone operating in their wounded masculine. But like I say, they have to use the opposite sex to carry out their mission. Okay, but they also need that energy to survive. And so this is why they have to do that. Now, I went a little bit, off subject going back to the sister in the video. She doesn't realize spiritually what she's doing to their relationship with God, what she's doing to, what that does to their marriage, and just the heaviness, that low vibration that they're both operating from. And the thing is, who knows if her husband is like that when he's by himself. He may be very helpful, but the fact that he has to get out of character, when he's around her, or maybe that's just who he is, whatever. She's taking him out of who he might really be. And that goes back to watching who you connect with, who you marry to, and how your character can change based off of who you with, and how these people can influence your behavior and take you just out of alignment with your relationship with God, your own righteousness, your own alignment in everything that you were supposed to been doing. We're supposed to all operate from a place of love. So anytime you see a man or a woman, not operating from a place of love and encouraging, their children, their spouse, or anybody else in their space to also do that, that's something to pay attention to. And the same thing with men, wherever they, because they are the leader in their families, a lot of times, if they're just encouraging bad behavior or discouraging good behavior, that says a lot about them at the core. And you have to pay attention to people's families too.